Story 1. My girlfriend asked for an open relationship after cheating. She got it, but now wants to close it. Well, I'm a long-time lurker, but now I think I'm a part of a club that none of us wanted to be in. Sorry for the poor English, I'm using a throwaway for secrecy. My girlfriend and I are both 23 and have been together for 4 years. We had a pretty good relationship, or so I thought. I'm in college and working part-time to pay the bills, and she does the same. However, we do not live together. I'm a very romantic guy, so every time we were together, I was all over her, kissing, hugging, that's my love language, and she reciprocated. But a few weeks ago she started pulling away from me, stopped initiating, etc. I knew something was up. I've read enough stories from here to know what was coming my way. I started to pull away as well and dropped subtle hints that I knew something was going on, but I didn't confront her. I also didn't touch her for the entire week. I think that did the trick because at the end of the week, she confessed. But of course she gaslighted me, although she didn't try to shift the blame. It turns out she had been going on random dates for 2 weeks at that point, and she had already been on 5 of them. She said she wanted to explore, and I just agreed. I knew our relationship was over, but I didn't want to end things and have her explode, so I just played along. She proposed an open relationship with some rules. No sleeping over, no more than 1 or 2 dates with the same person, and no sleeping with friends. I agreed. I'm a decent-looking guy, and I take care of myself, so I knew I could easily find other dates without much effort. She's a pretty girl, so she had her share of dates too. But when I was at her place and had a date that night, she would just stare at me while I got ready, and I could tell she was jealous. But I didn't care. We barely had sex, and the affection I used to give her was gone. She grew a little depressed over the course of 3 weeks, and last night she asked to close the relationship. I couldn't hold it in, so I laughed and told her no. She was the one who wanted to keep the relationship, but she didn't lift a finger to work for it. So I didn't give a damn either. I ended things right then and there and went out on my date. Today, she's blowing up my phone, asking for forgiveness and to get back together. I didn't respond, but she even gave me a hall pass to sleep around. Now I'm here, writing this, trying to figure out why. But I don't think I'll ever find out. Thanks for listening to my vent. My girlfriend asked for an open relationship after cheating. I agreed, but now that I've had a bunch of dates, she wants to close it, so I broke up with her. Update. Hey guys, I posted here about 2 months ago about my ex-girlfriend who confessed to cheating on me with random dates because she wanted to be free but still loved me. My post was removed, so I'll give you some context. I may repost it on my own profile if you want to check it out. Long story short, when she confessed and asked for an open relationship to explore, I said sure, why not, and had my fair share of dates. However, I was still leading her on, making her believe we were still in a relationship. Eventually she was demoted to a FWB and was unaware of it. After 3 weeks of seeing me go on dates, she became depressed and asked to close the relationship again. That's when I decided to break up with her. Now for the update. It's now Christmas afternoon and her family just passed by to greet me and thank me for being a good son-in-law for the past year. They also apologized for their daughter's behavior. This caught me off guard because I didn't think my ex would tell them the truth about our breakup, especially since they hadn't contacted me in the 2 months that had passed. This triggered me to update on my situation with my ex, which is now non-existent. It's been over a month of no contact, and I'm happy with that. We have had some minimal contact, but nothing like before. She was stalking me on social media, leaving creepy comments on other girls' posts with fake accounts. Every time I blocked one, she would create 2 more. How did I know it was her? She told me while chasing me. One weekend, she even camped outside my house, waiting for me to come out, and ambushing me into talking to her again. When I opened my garage to work on my bike, she jumped right in and tried to hug me. It was pretty pathetic, but I ended up running around my house with her chasing me. I was able to call the police and hide inside my house. However, my garage was still open and she ended up kicking my bike and causing some damage. The police arrived and arrested her, but she resisted, making her situation worse. I testified and was let go. She was admitted to a mental facility for some issues she already had, but hadn't been treated correctly. This was mostly due to the psychotic breakdown she was having at the time. I don't understand how she became so obsessed with me. We hadn't talked since I blocked her on the day of my previous post. But now, after over a month of no contact, I have hope that this chaotic situation will finally come to an end. I now have a restraining order and hope to never see her again in my life. Thank you to everyone who supported me on my previous post. I may not have been able to respond to everyone, but I read all of your comments. Thank you again. My crazy cheating ex-girlfriend stalked me and was admitted to a mental facility. A reader commented that opening a relationship usually doesn't fix trust issues and that she screwed up and it's her problem, not mine. They also suggested that she may have had feelings for one of her effing buddies and now wants to settle down. The original poster responded that they were initially open to the idea of an open relationship, but the ex misunderstood and it would have been much more open than she thought. Another reader commented that many men would envy the way OP handled the situation instead of crying and begging. The OP clarified that they were not proud of their actions and were actually quite petty, but they have no regrets. They even responded to their ex with their true thoughts, to which she replied with an F you. Another reader commented that this is a success story, while the ex continues to sleep around, getting pumped and dumped by people who only want the best for you, to make sure you push on with a fantastic girl who actually cares about you. Original poster. This is not a success. This is just me wanting to be as hurtful as I can be. I'm not proud, but be damned if I regret something. Story 2. My wife cheated on me. We're going through the divorce process and living in the same house. She is gaslighting the hell out of me. I feel like staying under the same roof is horrible for my mental health. Need some advice. As the title suggests, my wife cheated on me multiple times throughout the course of the last few months. I had a sneaking suspicion pretty much immediately when the affair started. However, she was so convincing when I talked with her. I was never vindictive or overly confrontational when I brought it up. But man, when I did, she'd flip the script on me like I'm some kind of bad guy for trying to discuss our relationship and questioning her integrity. Anyways, I found out she was constantly on her phone, and one night, I did what I had to do and read her text messages. I confronted her the next morning about the affair, and she lied. I confronted her again, this time telling her I have seen her text messages, and she lied again. Finally, I had to literally recite some of the messages I read, and she just fell silent. Her response to all of this was not to apologize, but instead she told me if I didn't push her to that point, she never would have done it. I know I'm an anonymous stranger on the internet, but guys, when I tell you I have never in my life done anything to my wife that would make her cheat, I'm not kidding. I've never been physical with her, never yelled at her, never really done anything that would make me question my own integrity. Truly, I'm not perfect, but I honestly have been a good husband to her. Well now, living with her has been hell. She's telling anyone and everyone we know that I have emotionally abused her. Even after finding out I have never been mean, yelled, etc. I've told her I'm heartbroken and we're definitely getting a divorce, but honestly, that's where it starts and ends. Every little word that comes out of my mouth she twists like I'm some kind of bad guy. She claims I'm gaslighting her, which is crazy, because she is gaslighting me. She's always mean and confrontational when I see her, and honestly, I don't really say anything because I just know it'll be taken the wrong way or twisted in a way I didn't intend, and she'll start an argument. What do I do? Why is she being so horrible? Shouldn't I be the one mad at her? Honestly, I just want to coast out this divorce process and move on. But she is so overly combative, it's making a cordial divorce very, very difficult. At first, her gaslighting was getting to me. I was questioning myself hard, but I've had some time to step back and think rationally, and what she is claiming simply is not true. Someone help a brother out because I'm struggling. Edit 1. Holy shit, the amount of advice and support I've gotten from you all is mind-blowing. To anyone that contributed, I truly mean this. Thank you. At it too, it's been a day since I posted. I implemented the gray rock method immediately following this post and it is working. It's driving her crazy and in return keeping me grounded. This post has saved my sanity. Thank you all so much. Read or comment. Learn the value of the gray rock and the 180 methods. Return her level of energy, but have other coping mechanisms when she's not. When she's not around, find ways to release emotional energy. Don't waste any more energy in a conversation with her. Start planning how and when you can move. Remove all mutual friends that don't support you from your life. Focus on fresh and healthier relationships. Original poster. I just googled gray rocking and that was super helpful. Thank you. I have definitely inadvertently been practicing some of these methods in response to this, but this gives me something to be mindful about. I don't think my wife is a full-on psychopath or anything, but understanding how I can disengage from confrontation and someone who's looking for it is helpful. Read her comment. No one wants to be the villain in their own story. So in order to live with herself, she needs to make you the villain. Don't let her do this. Expose her to everyone. Don't let her be the official historian of your marital story. Original poster. This is true. It may sound a little crazy, but I feel like my continued cordial and mature behavior is what's causing her to become combative. My reaction isn't aligning with her story, and that is causing her to lash out at me. If what I just said is true, that's her burden to bear. I don't want to be aggressive or vindictive and make her distorted version of reality true. Read her comment. No one makes another cheat. You do not have to defend yourself. I promise we all believe you. My cheater moved out right away to live with the new girlfriend. But otherwise, the start of my story is somewhat similar. And the gaslighting. Oh, the gaslighting. I'm still sorting out reality in my head. It's terrible. I'll get there someday, but right now it's awful. I'm sorry. I agree with others who have posted here regarding minimal contact and gray rocking. It's hard, but imagine a wall surrounding you and protecting your sanity. You will make it. I'm sorry. Original poster. I appreciate your words of encouragement. It's crazy when someone is trying to convince you that you made them cheat. It doesn't even make sense. Wishing you all the best as well. Update. It's been 3 weeks since my original post, so I figured I'd give an update. Long story short, my wife had an affair and was really making me feel horrible about myself. She turned her friends against me, portraying me as a monster and being uncharacteristically awful. If you're going through the divorce process or your spouse cheated on you and is making you feel bad about it, I feel like I have some solid advice to share. My STBXW and I are well on our way through the divorce process now. I didn't hesitate on the divorce, didn't second guess myself, and stayed the course. Because of that, I'm almost free. My soon-to-be ex has said and done some extremely crazy, illogical, and hurtful things along the way. At this point, every word she says further solidifies my decision to divorce her. I've been told I made her cheat. I've been told I abused her. I've been gaslighted multiple times during our settlement, with her claiming that the morally right thing to do is to stay together. And the list goes on. Sometimes I wonder if she's even living on planet Earth with her distorted thinking. This divorce has opened my eyes and made me realize that I was a bit of a sucker. I loved her with my whole heart, and because of that, I allowed her to manipulate my emotions, question myself, and more. I fell into an empathy trap, constantly empathizing with her, even when her actions were unjustified. But now I see things clearly, and I won't let her make me feel guilty or responsible for her actions. She thought or said things that made no sense. I unintentionally fueled completely irrational thoughts. The script has been flipped entirely. She doesn't even know how to interact with me now, that she can no longer manipulate me. And because of that, the only thing she can do is get mad, explode, etc. Essentially, she goes into an unprovoked rage. If I snapped one day and called her every name in the book, it would be the equivalent of resuscitating her. It would give her relief, not make her feel worse, which is twisted in every way. But I know it's the truth. Anyways, I haven't given her an inch, not a single inch. I'm not mean, I'm not aggressive, I'm not vindictive. I'm none of those things and I never have been. I'm confident, I'm grounded, and I'm thinking rationally and logically. I'm not letting my heart take the wheel, not slipping up or losing my cool, and certainly not letting her manipulate me any further. She's still in her cheater's fog. She still feels justified for her decisions, etc. I have not, and doubt I ever will, receive an apology from her. Her family has apologized profusely, which is appreciated, but it doesn't necessarily cover up the hurt I experienced. I will admit, in this moment, the hurt I see in her family far outweighs the hurt I feel for losing my wife. They're good people. It is unfortunate that the apple fell far, far from the tree. In a few short weeks, I'll be a free man. I'm not sure when the fog will be lifted for her, but I do have sympathy for her to a certain extent. There will be a day when she wakes up, a day where reality and real life catch up with her. I don't know if that will be in a few months, a year, or half a lifetime, but it will come. There will be a day when she is sitting alone in her apartment or home, and the burning fling she had will begin to die out. I empathize with her because the pain she will feel in that moment will be exactly what I felt. Absolutely crushed, physically sick to my stomach, and an emotional mess. Truly, I was a phenomenal husband. It is now and always has been my personality to be a chipper, smiling face for her, jovial, and a rock-solid shoulder to lean on. Reliable, loyal, and loving would all be understatements. And she will grow to recognize that she hit the jackpot on her first go-round and destroyed the marriage with what she'll one day recall as the biggest mistake of her life. That a fling, an exciting affair, etc., cannot and never will be able to replace a lifetime partner who understands and willingly accepts genuine commitment. She will one day learn and understand that. I've put in my time. I've experienced the hurt. I've reflected on myself, our marriage, and what led us to this point. I sought professional counsel to make sure I was giving myself the opportunity to decompress my thoughts and emotions. I've read literature. I've critically analyzed myself and my behavior to try and pinpoint exactly what it was that led her to do what she did. The fact is, nothing I did led her to cheat. Nothing. I wasn't perfect. Nobody is, but I loved her. I would work and make sacrifices for her. And the fact of the matter is, that wasn't a two-way street. The lies, the manipulation, all of the wild things she says she truly may believe, but they're not coming from a place of rationality. She gave up on a marriage that I was putting 100% effort into and had an affair with someone that would have gone to the moon and back for her. It destroyed my confidence. I'm not going to lie. But in these moments of absolute emotional agony and adversity, it will make me a better man on the other side. Guys, seriously, if you're unhappy in a marriage, communicate. Do not cheat. And if you do cheat, own it. Look internally. Don't further hurt those around you and blame them. Hundreds of hours of ruminating, thinking about myself, blaming myself, etc., could have been prevented by a simple phrase from my soon-to-be ex. Hey, I'm sorry, I messed up. I don't know if anyone here needs to hear this, but if you're currently playing the blame game, feeling down on yourself, or struggling with your confidence, stop. Reflecting on yourself is powerful, and I think constructive criticism is beneficial, but you cannot drive someone to have an affair. You cannot accept blame for another person's character flaws. Period. If things are not working out, you've tried counseling and exhausted all options, then divorce is the appropriate next step. Not a secret affair. I'll leave you with this. My soon-to-be ex looked me directly in the eyes and confidently stated, I am not the type of person to have an affair. That's not who I am. You led me to that point. If you've ever heard that phrase before, or hear it in the future, package it up in a pretty box, make sure it's nice and sealed, and shove it right where the sun doesn't shine. That doesn't even make sense. It's like saying I want to rob a bank, and then telling the officers, I'm not the type of person to rob a bank. The government made me do it. But as a rational adult, that's not how it works. Thank you for reading and allowing me to share my thoughts. And thank you for all of the advice on my original post. This subreddit has been monumental in maintaining my sanity for the past 3 weeks. Reader comment. There will likely be a lot of residual trauma that you will need to work through once you are finally separated. It's difficult to heal under current circumstances. Thank you for the heads up. That's why we're here. I can tell you right now, I have every intention of facing the storm head on, not running away from it. I have no intention of carrying around emotional baggage for years to come, or, even worse, bringing it into a new relationship. Reader comment. I heard something really interesting today, the narcissist's prayer. Have you ever heard of it? That didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, it wasn't a big deal. And if it is, it's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, then you deserved it. Haha. I can say with 100% confidence that I have never heard that before, but it sums up the situation pretty well. I never recognized my soon-to-be ex's narcissistic tendencies before this. I'm not sure if it's because I brought out the best in her and those tendencies are just now surfacing, or if I overlooked them. But they are definitely front and center now. I love quirky sayings like this, so thank you for sharing. Reader comment, great post, and I'm really happy for you. However, the pity you express for her in the future is just a comforting fantasy. It's probably better to accept that she may never recognize her wrongdoings or feel any guilt. She will continue to find enablers to avoid facing her actions. But it doesn't matter. You get to move on and find someone better. And that's enough. Well said. I don't care to see the day she comes full circle. Whether she does or not, it's her burden to bear. I do recognize that while I will be moving on to better things, she will be stuck in the same cycle until she faces her issues. There are ups and downs in a marriage, but ultimately, if things are not working out, divorce is the best option. In a marriage, it can be rainbows and butterflies 95% of the time. However, if both parties are unable to handle difficult situations and their response is to seek someone else, it will be a challenging journey. Marriage may not be the solution if you are unable to recognize and overcome this mindset.